Matsuk guided the Rochester Rams to a state championship in 1998. All the while, Gene Matsuk was at his side, helping his older brother in every way possible. When Dan stepped aside in 2000, Gene was his likely successor. He brought with him Dan's love of the game and his unbending will to win. But make no question about it, this was Gene Matsuk's team. And Gene never wavered when the Rams started the season 1-2. He stayed the course, took no quarter, and made the Rams believe in themselves and in their unique abilities. He believed this team was capable of great things, and slowly, so did the Rochester Rams. They overcame adversity, they silenced the critics, and ultimately, Gene Matsuk and the 2000 Rochester Rams believed in the dream.
Every player!
Well, the expectations are always high at Rochester, and, we felt coming in that being my first year as a head coach, we wanted to get this team to the playoffs, losing 9 starters on defense and 7 on offense. We wanted to make sure that we can get this team to the playoffs, and hopefully good things could happen, and sure enough, it did. It really came together. Our kids worked hard, a lot of determination, a lot of heart, and they believed in our coaching staff, and good things happened.
I didn't expect to go 1-2 the first 3 games, but I felt that we had a good chance to win the section, have another chance to go back to Three Rivers. We knew we had to play hard and practice hard every week we played, so we just knew that we had to make the best of it.
Obviously, our main goal was to actually first make the playoffs, then win the section, then maybe make it to the Whippeals and get to the states. And everyone else knew that it was going to be some hard work to actually go back to states again.
In the season opener against Quaker Valley, the Rams effectively foreshadowed a great campaign. Rochester scored early and often, taking a 14-0 lead on touchdowns by Jermaine Moy and Kirby Griffin. The Quakers made it close with a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. But Rochester put the game out of reach with 2 second-half scores. Rochester's hard-fought 28-14 win made Gene Matsuk's head coaching debut a success.
Give us the love. That's going to bind us to be a person tonight. Man, I love you. Now I'm telling you, what time is it?
In a Week 2 showdown with Clairton, the Rams made it look easy on their first 2 possessions. Rochester mixed it up offensively to the Bears' chagrin. Kirby Griffin and Nate Waldron plowed into pay dirt as Rochester coasted to a 14-0 first quarter lead. But Clairton sophomore Quinton Sutton was just getting started. Sutton passed for 2 touchdowns and ran 1 more in as the Bears handed Rochester a disheartening 22-14 loss. Rochester faced off with another talented team in Week 3 as Lou Falcone's Farrell Steelers came calling. Farrell jumped out to a 12-0 first-quarter lead behind Justin Odom and Kennard Davis. Rochester responded with a pair of touchdowns, the first on a 44-yard touchdown pass from Adam Moore to Mike Boyd. They then took a 3-point lead on Jermaine Moy's 1-yard plunge. But the Rams again faded into the crunch as Farrell's Marcelino Manila recovered a teammate's fumble in the end zone to take the Steelers to a 20-15 win. Brotherly love took a backseat in Week 4 as Gene Matzuk's Rams visited Neshannock and former Rochester coach Danny Matzuk. Gene's Rams got the better of the brawl as Mike Boyd, Kirby Griffin, Nate Waldron, and Jermaine Moy all got into the act for the Rochy offense. Meanwhile, the Rams' defense feasted on the hapless Lancers, forcing 2 turnovers and limiting Neshannock to 5 first downs. The outcome was never in doubt as Gene went one up on Brother Dan via a 42-6 Rochester win. The Rams offense had hit its stride. This was an offense for the ages.
We knew that we could score at any time. We just had to be patient and just having all them guys around you made the job so much easier.
It's good to play on an offense like that when you got so many weapons on offense like Kirby, Javon, Mike Boyd, Adam, good at quarterback, got a couple ends, got a good line. And I mean, backs block for each other and the lines busted like block for us.
I have to give all my credit to the offensive line. They're real hard-nosed. They weren't the biggest line in the conference or anything like that. We had 2 big tackles, but then the inside 3 with Nick Manarino, Jim Sadler, and Ryan Woods, they weren't as big as other linemen like Brad White from Western Beaver or Annapolis from Monaca. So they're real hard-nosed, and they just did the best they could and gave us our best. And we gave them all the credit when we got 2 yards or 50-yard touchdown or whatever we did.
Offensively, we were pretty diversified. We could throw the football if we needed to, but basically we kept the football on the ground, and we wanted to keep people on us through the air. And Adam Moore did a great job of that for us. But one concern we had on offense was our offensive line. Coming into the season, we knew they were young, and we were starting 2 sophomores up there and a sophomore tight end, and we felt that it was going to take them a little bit of time to gel. But I tell you what. By the end of the year, we became one of the best offensive lines in the county and, of course, in the state of Pennsylvania. And so I was real happy with our offense. They did a tremendous job. They work hard every day, and I was real pleased with them.
Moy and Kirby Griffin turned special teams duty into special plays in a Week 5 contest with Stowe Rocks. Moy finished the evening with 287 all-purpose yards and 4 touchdowns, 2 via punt returns and 2 more on conventional plays from scrimmage. Kirby Griffin added 110 rushing yards and 2 more scores for the high-octane Ram offense. Defensively, Vince Moakley recovered 2 fumbles to go along with 10 tackles and a sack. Added up to a convincing 43-7 Rochester win. In a Week 6 shutdown at Union, the Rams keyed on Union's all-star tailback Ben Gunn. And once the Rams took Union's big gun away, the rest of the game plan fell right into place. Offensively, Rochester countered with an arsenal of weapons, running and passing their way into the end zone. Jermaine Moy and Kirby Griffin displayed a lot of firepower of their own, each accounting for 2 Rochester scores. Whitaker added a fumble recovery for a score to seal the deal as Rochester routed Union 32-14. Kirby Griffin stepped up in a Week 7 showdown with Western Beaver. Griffin accounted for all of Rochester's points in the first 3 quarters, totaling 28 for the night. Western hung tough, scoring 2 second-quarter touchdowns of their own. But Rochester put the Golden Beavers away with Jermaine Moy's 22-yard pass reception. The win put Rochester right in the middle of the Big 8 conference race. The Rams' defense by committee was getting better every week, and their commitment to excellence would be tested in the weeks to come.
Well, you win championships with defense, there's no doubt about it, and our defense did get better and better as the season went on. But losing 9 starters on defense was a big concern to me, and sure enough, early in the season, going 1-2, we lost in the last drives of the game. And it's like I told the kids after that game on defense, I said, you know, every time they got inside the 30-yard line, they would score. Well, our defense decided to take a little bit of a different attitude and say, you know what, Coach, once they got into the 30, we're going to stop them. And, you know, we took the extra time with our defense. We made sure that they worked every day and they worked hard, and you know what? Our kids responded well. And that's what happens when you win a state championship. That your kids have to come together and believe in you and your coaching staff and believe in themselves. And our kids did that. And defensively was the big key for us at the end of the year.
Yeah, our defense. We kind of like want to like let everybody know we're not just Rochester's running team. We want to let everybody know we're defense, offense, special teams. We want to let them know we're everything. And I think we proved that this year.
With a Week 9 showdown with Monaca looming on the horizon, the Rams were caught looking ahead in their Week 8 encounter with Southside. The former state champs fought Rochester on even terms for much of the contest. But Rochester flexed its muscle when it had to, with Jermaine Moy and Kirby Griffin scoring all the points the Rams would need. Griffin then applied the knockout punch, picking off Southside's last-ditch effort. Rochester's 14-6 win paved the way for a conference title call at Monaca. In what has become Western Pennsylvania's most heated rivalry, the Rams trekked across the Rochester-Monaca Bridge to do battle with Monaca. The upstart Rams sent the undefeated Indians an early message, punishing Monaca on their first drive of the ballgame and scoring on 4th and goal. Following a Kirby Griffin interception for another score, Monaca battled back, scoring a pair of touchdowns of its own to take a 14-12 lead in the third quarter. Enter Javon Bradley and Nate Waldron. Bradley's breakout run set the table for Waldron's first touchdown of the night. Then Bradley punctuated the mild upset with a 7-yard burst to secure a win, the section title, and naming rights to the bridge that connects the boroughs.
Oh, it was great. You know, Monaca, it's always the bridge game, and then playing them at Three Rivers twice in my career, too, so it was great. Even in '99, the season, we beat them, and we lost in the first round of the playoffs, but as long as we beat them that year to take the bridge, that was good enough.
I mean, we like read all the stuff in the paper, you know, all the hype Monaca had. We knew they were a good team, but we knew we could beat them. We knew we could hang with anybody. But the intensity of that game, I mean, you could be 0 and whatever and come into that game and any team could win, you know.
Rochester hosted Jefferson Morgan in the first round of the WPIAL playoffs, and from the outset, the Rams proved that speed would indeed kill the Rockets' playoff hopes. Rochy ran and passed its way to 5 consecutive touchdowns, racing to a 36-0 lead in intermission. Meanwhile, the Rochester defense again played flawless football, wreaking havoc on the Rockets' offense at every opportunity. Rochester cruised to round 2 with a head-turning 55-12 win over outmatched Jefferson Morgan. In round 2 against Chartiers Houston, the Buccaneers opened the scoring with a 22-yard Josh Simpson field goal. The Rams countered with a 13-yard Kirby Griffin run to end the third quarter. Though the Rams defense bent, they never broke as Rochester made the 7-3 margin stand up for a round 2 win. In round 3, the Rams got their offense back on track against Greensburg Central Catholic. Rochester stunned the Centurions with 21 unanswered points in the first half. Kirby Griffin provided 2 scores, one on the ground and the second through the air. Meanwhile, Jermaine Moy capped off a 60-yard touchdown drive from 3 yards out. It was more of the same in the second half, as Moy, Javon Bradley, and Antoine Horton all found the promised land for the Rams. Defensively, Rochester punished highly regarded Jeff Moreau's all evening long. The Rams forced 3 interceptions and limited Moreau's to completing only 37% of his passes. Rochester's convincing 41-7 win over Greensburg Central Catholic set the stage for a rematch with Cross River rival Monaca.
We're going to 3 Rams! You know what?
For the second time in 3 years, Monaca stood between the Rochester Rams and a WPIAL title. And for the second time in 3 years, the Rams took it to the Indians from the opening whistle. On the very first play from scrimmage, Kirby Griffin took a handoff to the left side, got a back-breaking block from tight end Brad Leilja, and raced 55 yards for a touchdown. Monaca proved they would not go without a tussle, using 13 second quarter plays to take a 7-6 lead. On the ensuing drive, Rochester answered in lightning-fast fashion. Javon Bradley took a handoff and shrugged off two would-be tacklers en route to a go-ahead score. Rochester's defense then went to work to preserve a precarious one-touchdown lead. Antoine Horton choked off Monaca's last gasp with an interception in the waning moments, and the Rams had their second WPIAL crown in just 3 years.
Anytime you play a team twice in the same season, it's very difficult to do. But I tell you what, our kids really rose to the occasion at that time. And I really felt at that time, the WPL championship game, our kids were playing with a high sense of confidence. And I knew right there after that WPL championship game, I thought, hey, we have a shot to win a state title.
I felt really great because they came in this season when the team typed up to be the best, and nobody thought we could beat them, but we all knew that we could beat them. And to beat them twice just made it twice as good.
Like this year was last year's Three Rivers that they tore it down, and not many people could say, oh, we closed down Three Rivers, and beating your arch rival again was even more better.
Rochester immediately set their sights on grander dreams. Just 2 wins away from a state championship, Sharpsville provided Rochester's Western final test. Following a Sharpsville field goal, the Rams went to work, attacking Sharpsville with Jermaine Moy and Kirby Griffin. The talented tandem sizzled from the outset. Griffin's 24-yard romp gave the Rams a razor-thin halftime lead. But Griffin and Moy were just getting started. Kirby added a pair of second-half scores to go with his second quarter touchdown, and Jermaine tacked on a 2-yard burst for good measure. Together, Griffin and Moy accounted for nearly 300 rushing yards. Meanwhile, the Rochester defense stymied Sharpsville the final 3 quarters, forcing 3 turnovers along the way. Rochester's hard-fought 27-3 win punched their ticket to Chocolate Town for a return engagement with Southern Columbia. On a blustery December afternoon, the Rams took the field against Southern Columbia, determined to fulfill a lifelong dream. And the Rams sent a message early, dissecting Southern Columbia on its opening possession. Jermaine Moy capped the drive, twisting in from 3 yards out to give Rochester a 6-0 lead. But Southern Columbia responded in workmanlike fashion. The Tigers put together an impressive 74-yard drive of their own to go ahead by a point. Rochester seized momentum in the second quarter as Kirby Griffin recovered a fumble, then raced to the Southern Columbia goal on the very next play. Griffin then punched it in to give the Rams a 13-7 advantage at intermission. Rochester again used a quick strike early in the third quarter as Javon Bradley burst through the line of scrimmage, then raced a fader to give Rochester a commanding 19-7 lead. But again, Southern Columbia got off the mat to score a knockdown of their own as quarterback Matt Caskey rambled 24 yards to narrow Rochester's lead to 5. Kirby Griffin's 27-yard field goal had just enough leg to lengthen Rochester's lead to 8.
Guts, desire.
The Rams defense then took over. Mike Boyd and Jermaine Moy each sliding interceptions to preserve the 8-point margin. And when the clock ran out on Southern Columbia, Gene Matzik and the Rochester Rams celebrated the culmination of a dream season.
That was the model we kind of used midway through the season, you know, because through scouting reports, in fact, we heard through the grapevine that one of the coaches in our section was saying that, you know, they're going to try to take advantage of somebody on your football team. You know, they want to try to find the weaker guy. And one of the phrases I wanted to use with my kids and remind them of every game was every player, every play, because we don't want them to find that one weak person because we don't have anybody weak on this team. And we got to be able to count on everybody on this football team, all 38. And so I use that motto usually in my pregame speeches. And I tell you what, the kids really it sunk into their heads because when they walked on that field, they played with a sense of pride and a sense of confidence.
That's something you really don't think about because it's like so far away at the beginning of the season, and when we got there, it's undescribable how great it is to walk out on that field with all them fans in the stands.
It was great. I mean, it didn't hit me like until maybe a day later, like, we're the state champs. But like, it felt great to do that, to win. And like, what was so good about it is like, we weren't expected to win that many games. Nobody expected us to do that, but
I think it was at the end of the game, it like finally hit you. It's like, it hurts, you know, last game, knowing that you're never going to play high school football again. And
I was real happy until I realized like it was my last high school game, and then it kind of set in, and I was kind of sad, but then I was happy, and a couple tears flew down my face. But I mean, I'm happy that I took the gold in my last high school game.
I told my seniors kind of like at the end of the year, I said, you know, it's kind of like running on a train. And you're running on a chain, you pick up your seniors first, and then on a second train is the juniors, and on a third train is your sophomores. And we rode on that train for 15 games, and we did so many things together as a team. And you kind of become father-son to these kids. And here it comes now at the end of the state championship game, at the end of the season, we have to drop our seniors off, and that's one of the hardest things as a coach, that you have to see your seniors walk away. But you know what? I had good seniors, and if I can, you know, they're well-rounded men. Hopefully they can continue on with their lives and be successful. You know what? If they can do that, I'm going to be a very happy coach.
The 2000 Rochester Rams never wavered after beginning the season with consecutive losses. Deep down, they knew they were capable of greatness. And so it came as no surprise that the Rams overcame adversity the only way they knew how, with every player playing every play all out with abandon. One by one, they took on all comers, and they relinquished them with disdain. So Gene Matzik and the 2000 Rochester Rams continued the tradition of excellence at Rochester High School. They dreamed of a championship season, and they delivered.
Fill this team with pride, dear Lord, as we wear the Rochy blue and white. It's free from victory, D-Lord. And most important, give us the love that's going to bind us through the adversity tonight. Men, I love you.